never-ending circus of internet drama, there's always someone who makes you reevaluate your definition of rock bottom. And lately, that someone has been Elphaba Orion Doherty, a name that's become infamous for all the wrong reasons. From faking autism diagnosis just to get an excuse for her bad behaviors and then going on a talent show meant exclusively for autistic people. To intentionally spreading scabies by trying on clothes in public shopping malls.
There she is, don't let you get away!
Let's go meet you here, let's go! Nobody watches me!
Elphaba's behavior isn't just outrageous, it's disturbingly calculated and endlessly bizarre. But it doesn't stop there. She's repeatedly faked self-harm on live streams, claiming she was triggered by trolls or doxing threats. In one pathetic attempt, she pretended to pass out on camera by lightly hitting herself with a hairbrush. Yes, she didn't even bother making it look real. Despite all this being enough to label her as one of the most deranged people you'll ever come across, it's actually just the tip of the iceberg, and arguably the least disgusting part compared to what you're about to see in this video.
I don't find it funny. I know some of you are laughing right now, but I don't find it funny. Because I generally have mental health problems, and when you take that away from me, I can't do it anymore.
As shocking as all this is, it actually wasn't like this for Elphaba in the beginning. Born in Barnstable, England, Elphaba often claims to have had a rough upbringing, though whether that's the full truth or just part of her victim narrative is up for debate. What is known is that Elphaba was born male and identified as queer long before her transition, which made her an easy target for bullying in school. And to be fair, there's early posts and videos that back up her claims of emotional trauma and social alienation.
I can't tell you how grateful I am, because when I was in school, I was bullied so much, and I was so bullied, so it's like not fun, right? And it actually sucked so much. But you know what? I came out the other end, and I was like, yeah.
I don't know how to word this, but before I had a platform and came out as a trans woman to my family, at first it wasn't taken well. I suffered a lot of trauma and pain emotionally. I was bullied in my town, degraded for being different. Beyond bullying, another speculation that's followed Elphaba online is the theory that she might have fetal alcohol syndrome. This rumor started because of how her mother, dubbed Momphaba by the internet, acts during livestream appearances. She often appears zoned out, erratic, and sometimes completely incoherent, prompting many viewers to wonder if she was using substances during pregnancy or is currently a crackhead. But the real turning point in Elphaba's early years wasn't trauma, it was musical theater. At some point during childhood, Elphaba attended a Broadway performance of Wicked, and that experience lit a spark that never went out. It wasn't just a show to her, it became a full-blown obsession, so much so that she adopted the name Elphaba, after the green-skinned lead character of the story. Even before she transitioned, Elphaba was trying to embody the Wicked Witch's persona. Back in 2012, at just 8 years old, she was already recording videos of herself singing Wicked songs with shaky pitch and over-the-top performance. Everything was going well and Elphaba was enjoying her passion, until she started making content in 2019. And no, it wasn't on TikTok, but on a similar platform called Likey. The reason? Likey was a lot looser when it comes to child safety. Unlike TikTok, which is very strict about under 18 users going live. Likey, on the other hand, has a bad reputation when it comes to protecting minors from predators, with multiple cases of children as young as 8 years old receiving DMS from creepy adults.
Talk. Let's go. So he was trying to join an app called Likey that I was on. I had about 400,000 followers on it. So he reached out to me and tried messaging me, so I replied, and he just wanted to join the agency I was with so he could get paid to post and also to go live and earn more money, as you would want.
And Elphaba herself became a victim of this, though not in the way you might expect. After joining Likey, she contacted an agency that helps creators earn money through the app and ended up joining it, which helped her get monetized soon enough. But shortly after, Elphaba wasn't just demonetized, she was banned from Likey for 1 year. The reason? on livestream. And the reason this ties into the predatory environment is because, according to her, she only did it after seeing others do even worse and still get away with it.
I genuinely thought you would have to do it because I saw other people do it. I weren't banned for it, so I was like, why not try it? And I got banned for just touching my I didn't actually show it, but okay.
He saw other people doing inappropriate things in front of kids on a live streaming app, yet he thought it was okay because they were getting away with it.
I was just having fun, and it's like, I swear like he's like an 80+ thing anyway, so I got banned for a year, by the way. Yeah, no. I'm gonna probably start another likey. I'm banned for a year on likey for that.
I didn't know it wasn't allowed though, that's why I didn't know.
And unfortunately, this wasn't even the only thing Elphaba was accused of. In one group chat, yes, a group chat that literally had kids as young as 10 and maybe even younger, Elphaba was caught saying wildly inappropriate things. We're talking about straight up adult conversations, like openly talking about wanting to hook up with a man.
So you can see what he was saying. He was talking about wanting to speak to Indians because he was the H word, and yeah, it just didn't make sense. This is what I knew of him before he changed into this and blew up on TikTok.
Like, what are you doing? Why are you even in a group chat with actual children if that's the kind of stuff you're gonna say? It's not just tone deaf, it's disgusting. But as serious as this was, it didn't spark any major backlash at the time, mainly because Elphaba didn't have the kind of clout she has today. Back then, nobody really cared, but that wouldn't last long. In 2020, Elphaba officially began creating content on TikTok, and right from the start, everything revolved around her one loud, obvious obsession, the musical Wicked. But while she clearly idolized Wicked, it has become painfully obvious over the years that her knowledge didn't go beyond defying gravity. In fact, she was straight up humiliated on live streams, after failing to answer even the most basic questions about the show, questions her own viewers threw at her.
Much more easier. It's like it was 1,400 eyes looking at me. Do you not understand how overwhelming that is? You're doing well, Alfie, thank you. More simply a second name, Arivo. But she has a huge name which I cannot pronounce. Yeah, but I can't pronounce her name and it'll be a bit, and I don't want to do that. Like, ask me questions about defying gravity or something, or, you know, the alphabets, like, that's where I'm very strong in. You can literally play me defying gravity and I can tell you the exact alphabet that sings. What key is defying gravity singing? I don't know, I'm gonna be for real, because I don't study music that way, I only sing. I know, like, alphabets in the show, and, no, I don't know the key, I'm not normal. Why is the alphabet green? Well, I can easily tell you that. So basically, I'm overwhelmed right now. I know exactly, but there's a lot of people in the comments, just too much. So I'm gonna turn it off, and I'll tell you it right now, okay?
That same year, Elphaba also began live streaming herself singing Wicked songs out in public, and unsurprisingly, Defying Gravity was the one she kept going back to again and again. This became a pattern. Elphaba kept posting these bizarre, low-effort street-singing videos, and while they were cringe, they weren't harmful. Things stayed mostly tame, until one live stream changed everything. During one of her usual outdoor streams, a group of kids approached Elphaba, snatched off her wig, and mocked her, leading to a complete meltdown.
No! Why do you find it funny? Why do you find it funny? Why do you find it funny? Why do you find it funny to hurt someone like that?
Can I wear it?
Can we move? Can we go, please? Call the police, please. Call the police. Can you call the police, please?
I am.
At first, people felt sympathy, and honestly, they had a point. Elphaba hadn't provoked these kids, and no one deserves to be bullied like that. After they ran off, a few bystanders even tried to comfort her.
They're sheep. They can't do it on their own, so don't worry about it. They're going to grow up, they're going to work in factories, they're going to be plumbers, they're going to be fit. Just carry on doing what you're doing, because it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But the real irony wasn't in what happened. It was in how Elphaba reacted. Instead of turning off the stream or processing it privately, Elphaba leaned all the way in. She didn't just cry on stream, she documented the meltdown so excessively that it came off almost theatrical, like a calculated performance rather than a genuine reaction. And if you were unlucky enough to sit through the entire stream, it was just hours of Elphaba playing the victim card, milking sympathy over an incident caused by literal kids. That moment marked a turning point. From then on, Elphaba's content shifted, from cringe theater obsession to full-blown pity farming. She wasn't just posting, she started e-begging, and this was the beginning of what would become a defining chapter in Elphaba's lore. At first, Elphaba begged for money under the usual sympathy bait, saying she couldn't pay rent, didn't have food, or needed help buying clothes.
You're in a financial situation where you can't afford to gift me, but you still support me. You can do this for free. You can double tap the screen. But if you can financially support me, do it. Let's get all the money. But if you can't, it's okay.
But all of that was a complete lie, because just days after begging, she was caught shopping at Tesco, buying overpriced junk food, and even flexing about going to see Wicked live again. So clearly she wasn't starving or on the edge of eviction. Instead of correcting herself or showing even a shred of honesty, Elphaba doubled down. She embraced the scam and went full grifter mode, staying live almost 24/7, begging for money literally every second she was on screen. Then she took it a step further. Elphaba created a private Discord group where only her top gifters were allowed in, basically a pay-to-play fan club. If someone stopped sending her high-value gifts, they'd get kicked out instantly. No warning, no gratitude, just gone.
Found a new way to beg for gifts.
Oh, Hannah, thank you, guys. If you sent her 1,000 coins, you get to join my Discord server that I'll be making today.
Given the absolute zero value she delivers on her TikTok streams, where most of the time it's just her staring at the camera, mumbling, or making strange noises, you'd think she wouldn't get much attention, let alone money. But you'd be dead wrong. Not only does Elphaba rake in tons of money from TikTok, but she's also received massive gifts from some of her viewers, especially men, who for some reason keep throwing money at her. We're talking high-tier virtual gifts like lions, which cost about $400 each. And it wasn't just once. Some guys sent her multiple lions in a single stream. That's easily over $1,000 for doing nothing but being live and manipulative.
Thank you so much.
Pass you up? What are you?
What makes the entire thing mind-boggling is that Elphaba is not even grateful for her own fans, who basically are the source of her living money. Not only she is disrespectful, but also act like other people are jealous of her making more money than them, when in reality she is just a beggar with an iPhone and the TikTok app downloaded on it.
It's fine, don't worry, I understand. I feel sorry. No way. Stay jealous that I'm getting more money than your weekly wages, darling. I'm sorry.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more pathetic, Elphaba began collaborating with other TikTokers who were just as exploitative as she was. But let's be clear, these weren't real collaborations built on creativity or chemistry. They were gift battles. She'd go live with them, competing to see who could squeeze the most money out of their viewers in real time. There was no entertainment value, no substance, just two clout chasers trying to see who could drain their followers' wallets faster.
When you're like trying to yap. Come at me in person, talk to me. You know what I mean? Come at me. Come at me.
While most of Elphaba's online collaborations eventually turned into bitter fallouts, there are a few that stand out, especially because of how chaotic and personal they became. We'll get to the others later, but for now, let's talk about Jack, a fellow TikToker who played a huge role in shaping Elphaba's rise. Like Elphaba, Jack is transgender, and around 1 or 2 years younger than her. The two first met at an LGBTQ youth event in the UK and quickly became inseparable. Their bond grew so strong that Elphaba even moved in with Jack and his mother, turning what started as a TikTok collab into a full-on living arrangement. But Jack wasn't just a close friend. He was a career boost. Since both shared an obsession with Wicked, they began posting duet-style videos, singing songs from the musical, and acting out scenes. This content, despite being awkward and cringy, clicked with audiences. In just a few months, Elphaba's account exploded with hundreds of thousands of new followers, largely thanks to their shared content. Their videos were often awkward, sometimes painfully cringy, but occasionally they showed flashes of genuine friendship, and audiences loved it. For a brief moment it seemed like Elphaba had finally found her niche. But as you'll soon see, This friendship didn't stay wholesome for long. Cracks were showing up every once in a while as the two started fighting with each other, and the fights were mainly because Elphaba didn't want to sing on live unless it was solo.
Yeah, let's just do the shortened version of it now.
That's not exactly a duet.
I know why it is.
It's not. I get one, like 2, maybe 3 lines if I'm lucky.
You can be the guards and you can be...
Then it's not the shortened version.
No, it is.
It's not. It's not.
Oh, wait, it's sweet. I'm not doing as long as you want. I'm feeling Defying Gravity right now because I'm literally dressed, ready for it.
I know, but I don't want to do that one. You've done it 3 times.
Okay, I'm not singing it.
Okay, if you don't want to practice the song, which we'll be literally performing.
Their friendship was clearly deteriorating as time went by, and this was obvious as they appeared together in their live stream. And very few people were quick to notice that the possible reason Elphab and Jack started to fall out because of Elphaba's selfishness and obsession to only do what she likes and not involve Jack with anything. One viewer said, "The way Elphaba didn't want to sing unless it was a solo, it's giving bad friend vibes." Despite their obvious fallout, by 2022, Elphaba and Jack found themselves involved in a major event, a talent show specifically for autistic individuals. But this wasn't just another cringy moment. This marked the point where Elphaba's controversies truly began to spiral. By this time, Elphaba had already been publicly claiming to be autistic, even insisting that she had been diagnosed by a medical professional. But here's where things started to look extremely shady. Not only did she fail to present any actual proof of this diagnosis, but the way she explained her symptoms made it clear she had no real understanding of what autism even is.
What traits of autism do you have? Well, I was told that I have a special interest in Wicked and Pokemon cards and things like that. I struggle to communicate with people. That's what Cam's picked up on as well, the stimming. Autism. Can't even spell that right. Anxiety, obviously. And depression. PTSD. IBS.
One of her biggest red flags? She once said she knew she had autism because she had a special interest in the musical Wicked. Yes, her obsession with a Broadway show was her self-declared medical evidence. It was ridiculous. The speculation that Elphaba might be faking autism further fueled as she tried to look autistic by throwing random words that are famous in the ASD community, which even made her look worse. And like this, Elphaba made it to the autism talent show with Jack, who, unlike Elphaba, had a legit diagnosis of autism by a professional. But not long after this, people started digging more, and Elphaba got exposed for faking having a diagnosis.
And we asked her, we wanted to confirm something. We asked your mother, does Elphie have a diagnosis of autism? What was her answer? And I hope it's a screen recorded, because I didn't want to do this. The answer was no, yeah? The answer was no. The answer was, we are trying to get her assessed for a diagnosis. There is no formal diagnosis.
As if this is not bad enough, Elphaba doubled down by claiming that self-diagnosis is as legit as a professional diagnosis.
I lied about being diagnosed with autism, correct? And that's damaging. But I'm taking an effort into being diagnosed for it. I think it's clear I'm autistic. Let's be real. And it's not that deep. Self-diagnosis is valid in my opinion. But it takes years. And that is why self-diagnosis is valid in the UK due to the NHS system. So if you want to come at me and say that I'm mocking conditions and mocking autism, that's not the correct way to approach it, babe. Not at all. I am 100% valid in saying that I could be autistic.
Elphaba would proceed into ranting about how she is autistic, because other autistic people had told her she displayed so many autism traits, even though every single trait she referenced was nothing more than surface-level, popular terminology commonly tossed around online. Even worse, she brazenly claimed her supposed understanding of autistic individuals, and her ability to get along well with them was sufficient proof of her autism. An absurd and outright illogical claim.
I get along with autistic people so much more than people who are not autistic. Because I get them. I get how they communicate. I get how they talk. And people who are talking to me and hearing me through the screen right now, and if you're autistic, you're probably getting what I'm saying right now. But no other people get me.
He could take that back.
No, they don't. Because those people are immature in this.
Understanding or relating to autistic people doesn't qualify anyone for an actual diagnosis, and the blatant manipulation and ignorance here are genuinely astounding. As if her excuses couldn't get any more ludicrous, Elphaba shamelessly insisted that the whole controversy surrounding her fabricated autism diagnosis was solely due to trolls and online hate she was receiving, conveniently sidestepping accountability and shifting blame entirely onto others.
A lot of hate from, these situations, but I get put into these situations by haters. I'm so sorry, for lying in the past. I really am.
She even went on to concoct another transparent excuse by claiming she only participated in the autism talent show because Jack would have been deeply hurt if she hadn't. A manipulative move clearly aimed at shifting the narrative. Even more disturbing was how quickly she contradicted herself. Soon after, Elphaba openly blamed Jack, claiming he was the mastermind who encouraged her to fake autism in the first place.
So, you all know I had a friend called Jack back in the day. That wasn't my fault. The problem is I did say to him, this doesn't feel right to go on the show because I'm not diagnosed. He said, if I don't go on the show, he would have a meltdown. Because he's autistic himself, it would stress him out. He organised it all. He's put so much work into this that it would stress him out if I didn't go on. And it just feels like I felt bad, so I did go on.
Further deepening her web of contradictions, Elphaba later went live again, declaring she was exhausted from taking care of Jack, who at the time was only 17 years old. By the end of 2022, their relationship had already deteriorated beyond repair, resulting in the complete cessation of their collaborations. Elphaba would then publicly speak ill of Jack and portray his mother as manipulative, shockingly dismissive of the very people who had opened their home to her when she was in need.
I am glad that I'm not friends with Jack anymore because I felt very controlled. I had to go to hospital visits every 7 hours. I waited with him. I was in hospital with him for 7 hours. I couldn't look after a 17-year-old. I felt I really couldn't do it. Hence why I wasn't looking after myself. I was not washing myself. I didn't clean my teeth. I was focusing on Jack.
Jack, on the other hand, released a heartfelt video addressing their split, candidly describing the immense relief and sense of rebirth he experienced upon severing ties with Elphaba. And this revelation alone speaks volumes, even if one were to set aside all the claims and counterclaims. The sheer emotional liberation Jack expressed clearly points to Elphaba as the toxic influence in the relationship.
It was a great conversation. Eventually I left the cabaret section of the Wells Millennium Centre and I looked out across Cardiff Bay. And for the first time in my life, I had the most amazing feeling. I felt free. I felt like I'd had closure on the whole Elphaba situation by going and seeing Luna and talking to him.
Ironically, despite her consistent defensiveness and repeated attempts to play victim, Elphaba herself eventually admitted, albeit reluctantly, that she was indeed responsible for the friendship's collapse.
I ruined the friendship. I ruined the friendship we had.
In spite of this, Elphaba wasn't going to stop. She kept Jack's name in her mouth, spinning up even more bizarre and made-up lies about him and his family. It got so out of hand that Jack's mother, who had stayed silent up until this point, finally broke her silence and made a response video. In it, she calmly but firmly addressed everything Elphaba had been saying, setting the record straight and exposing just how twisted and false Elphaba's narrative had become.
Elphie did go to hospital with Jack, but I'd go to hospital with anyone who needed me, and I went to hospital with Elphie as well. So again, I don't like all of the stories about this. Autism's Got Talent. He certainly wasn't forced into going on to Autism's Got Talent or anything. That was a complete and utter lie. Now, the begging, as you know, I did say there was going to be no begging. I saw the begging where she asked for gifts and was going to give them to people and she didn't, and I said that had to stop. And it was only when she started begging again and I said, that's got to stop. You can't do that in the house anymore. And she said, okay, I'm leaving then. I did not kick her out, and she chose to leave of her own accord.
And after this, things seemed to calm down for a while as both Jack and Elphaba appeared to move away from the situation, until Jack dropped a bombshell in November in 2023. In a deeply emotional post, Jack wrote, "I recently realized that I was Zad a while back, and have been breaking over it. I just wanted to make this to show it happens to everyone, and if you're in a similar position, then I see you. I can't bring myself to make a proper video about anything even though it was a while ago since this incident happened. I keep feeling like I'm being dramatic, but I'm not being dramatic." These were incredibly serious allegations. Jack didn't name anyone directly, but due to the context, the internet immediately speculated that he was talking about Elphaba. At first, people weren't entirely sure. It was possible he'd had another relationship. But then Elphaba, in a panic, confirmed the suspicion all on her own by posting this. Unfortunately, there are some messed up people in this world. If someone accuses me of something and the police aren't involved or convict me or arrest me, then it's lies and false. Period. This statement was not just weak. It was deflection at its worst. There are countless real-world cases of victims not getting justice, not because the accusations are false, but because of a lack of hard evidence or the legal system's failure to act. Elphaba pretending that innocence equals no arrest is a textbook manipulation tactic, and the truth is police were involved, just not in the way Elphaba wanted people to believe. According to leaky DMs from people who reached out to Jack, there was in fact an investigation taking place, likely still ongoing based on Jack's claims of SA against Elphaba. The disturbing part is that Jack was only 17 when this allegedly happened, making it even more plausible that he may not have fully grasped the situation at the time. Nice seeing the community rally around Jack, Elphaba did what she always does, went live on TikTok to do damage control, and in one of her lowest moments yet, she tried flipping the script by accusing Jack of her.
Facts happened, so I was like, confused. So in the morning, Jack came into my room, and I said, why am I pants off? Did I take them off? He said, no, I took them off because you pissed yourself. And I was like, why? What? Like I said before, right? And I felt uncomfortable. That's all I thought. And I don't know his intention. I don't know if I got or not. I don't know if it was like a good. I don't know if it was like a good gesture he did. I don't know what it was, so I can't actually comment on that. I don't know. I don't know.
But the proof she showed was nothing short of embarrassing, vague, irrelevant, and no way tied to the actual allegations. It was a last-ditch attempt to muddy the waters, and it only made her look more guilty.
But I know for a fact I couldn't physically take my pants off in front of Jack. I did not say him at all. Because when you're drunk, you physically cannot move. Can you see how immobile I am? Literally like this. So how could I be like this? And then do that? How could I do that? Where's the proof that I've got it here? Can you see how immobile my hands are? Not again, please. No, I'm just showing you. Can you see how she's dragging my arm?
But she didn't stop there. Elphaba continued trying to build her counterattack behind the scenes, specifically on Discord. At one point, she bragged that she had solid proof on Jack and that she was going to take him down. But if that wasn't desperate enough, she later posted this. I have gotten an insane amount of DMS. If you get any more Jack screenshots of him offending people, send it my way. This one message says everything. If Elphaba really had solid evidence, she would have posted it immediately. Instead, she's fishing, desperately begging people to send her anything that could make Jack look bad. It's a clear sign she had nothing to begin with. As if the entire Jack situation wasn't chaotic enough, Elphaba somehow managed to dig herself even deeper, this time by faking yet another disorder. After being exposed for lying about autism, she pivoted and claimed to have Tourette syndrome.
The whole 24 hours we was with each other, nothing. All of a sudden, she went like this, and I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "That's my Tourette's." I said, "What?"
For those who don't know, Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder where a person makes involuntary repeated movements or sounds called tics. They're not something you can just turn on for attention. They're spontaneous, persistent, and often lifelong. But Elphaba, out of nowhere, started claiming she had Tourette's during a random livestream. From that moment forward, her streams became a strange theater of bizarre behavior. She started making odd, exaggerated noises, and claimed they were uncontrollable tics.
I'm sorry.
Oh, bless.
Sorry. I can't. I want to pause it.
And look, no one's saying people with Tourette don't do these things. But here's the thing. Elphaba had been streaming non-stop for years. Literally all day. Every day. Not once had she ever shown a single sign of tics. And suddenly, now that she's exposed for faking autism, she just so happens to develop a second neurological disorder? Yeah, no one was buying it. The timing alone was enough to raise eyebrows. But it didn't stop there. The people in the actual Tourette's community, people with real diagnoses, started calling it out. They pointed out how her tics looked painfully unnatural, overly exaggerated, and completely inconsistent with how Tourette typically presents. It wasn't subtle, it was performative. But then came the moment everything collapsed. Elphaba went live with an actual professional named Jody, someone who's dedicated her work to Tourette education and advocacy.
You on and off my For You page for quite some time, and I steer clear of all the drama, but now you've directly impacted my child who suffers with this disability. It's not a fashion statement, Elphaba.
No.
It's not.
No, it's not. I'm really sorry. Of course
And
I am.
if you've genuinely got tics, then fine. I am the first person who will be there to support somebody. Ask anybody. But I'm telling you now, if you're lying about it and you're faking it, that is absolutely disgusting.
No, I'm not lying about it. I can show you proof.
And then she stopped claiming outright that she had Tourette and instead started spinning a new excuse. That maybe the doctors were wrong and her so-called tics were actually just a result of anxiety.
Like when I'm really stressed, I squeak and jitter, and I
You
can't
have functional tics. You think you have functional tics.
And just when you think she couldn't go lower, Elphaba finally admitted that she didn't have Tourette. But instead of being honest, she tried to dodge accountability once again by claiming that the clips of her faking tics were taken out of context.
I can see why you think this, but I'm about to show you some more proof in a minute that this is not me doing Tourette's, or... So this is a video that has been taken out of context. And here's Mama Kaz doing this.
We was with each other, nothing. All of a sudden, she went, like this. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, that's my Tourette's.
This video has been taken out of context.
You sat on live streams for hours, staring dead into the camera and flailing around like you were possessed. And somehow, that's out of context? And as if getting caught faking not just one, but two disorders wasn't enough of a train wreck, Elphaba decided to take things even further, this time by lying about other deeply sensitive issues like SAH and even SA. And the thing is, she doesn't even put in the bare minimum effort to make these lies believable. One of the most embarrassing examples happened when she claimed she was in the hospital after an alleged incident. She even posted a photo to prove it, except the photo wasn't hers. It was literally pulled straight from Google, and of course, people found out. The bluff was called immediately, and Elphaba got humiliated again in front of the entire internet. But Elphaba doubled down and made a follow-up video in the hospital, trying to prove that she wasn't lying. The problem? No one believed her. Not even close.
That's all I'm gonna post. This is all I'm gonna show you. And I'm getting help. And the help isn't even good, so there you go.
And instead of just leaving it alone, she somehow made it worse. She started complaining about the hospital itself, ranting that their service was so bad, it's the reason she wasn't healing properly. Which is ironic as hell, because healing from what exactly? You weren't sick? You weren't injured? You only showed up at that hospital after you got caught lying just to save face. But the most embarrassing part? That came when she tried to show her allegedly injured arm during a live stream. She made a big dramatic build-up, pulled up her sleeve, and nothing. Her arm was completely clean. The whole thing was exposed right there on live, and the second she realized it, she panicked and shut off the stream. But this wasn't even the only time Elphaba faked on a live stream. In one instance, after ordering a pizza while live on TikTok, she suddenly claimed she had been doxxed, suggesting viewers had contacted the pizza place to find out where she was staying. Now, there's no official proof this actually happened, and considering Elphaba has openly admitted to being a pathological liar, literally saying she needs a pill to stop lying, it's hard to take her word for it. Still, getting doxxed is a serious issue, especially for someone like Elphaba, who's managed to offend half the internet with her antics. But her response is where things take a bizarrely theatrical turn. Instead of stepping away or seeking help, Elphaba chose to stage a dramatic outburst. She picked up a hairbrush, began lightly striking her head on camera, and then exaggeratedly dropped to the floor, clearly trying to portray an emotional breakdown. But it was all performative. You can literally see her eyes tracking where she plans to fall right before she does it.
Laughing? Why are you laughing at me? Why are you laughing at someone doxing me? I don't find it funny. I wouldn't laugh at that about you.
And in yet another instance, she'd pulled the same dramatic stunt. Elphaba went live, pleading with viewers to buy her food, usually pizza, claiming she hadn't eaten in days, which was clearly untrue. But this time, people were done playing along. No one gave in, and that apparently set her off, or at least she acted like it did. She suddenly began acting out on stream, claiming it was due to emotional distress, but it was clearly another exaggerated performance.
You're right, I deserve all of it.
While it's often obvious that Elphaba stages emotional outbursts for attention, there are moments when her behavior takes a genuinely concerning turn. In one stream, she launched into a heated rant about how people only use her for clout and take advantage of her. Though ironically, she has a long history of manipulating others herself. But in that moment, she exploded with anger, pulled her hair down, and descended into a chaotic spiral that didn't seem staged. For someone known for playing things up, this time felt disturbingly real.
And do you think it's funny to ruin someone's life and do this to people and try to destroy them? Mama, shut up. So much.
She later went on a podcast and casually claimed that she had been assaulted and had become numb to it.
I just became numb to it. I've been so hurt so many times. So I was bullied in school. So in year 7, a guy tried to me. It's true. And then, you know, I pissed myself in class and I got called Pissy Pants for 3 years after that. So that was nice.
And look, SA is serious. It's not something you just toss randomly like it's part of your brand. Her statement made people furious. One viewer even said, "Numb to SA. Never heard any victim say that before." As a victim myself, that made me feel absolutely disgusted. And honestly, they're right to be angry, because this stuff isn't a joke. It's not clout content. It's not supposed to be a tool for sympathy or attention. When someone lies about something as serious as SA, it doesn't just hurt them, it hurts real victims. And just when you think she couldn't twist it any further, Elphaba came back again with another excuse. She claimed she didn't want to show her injuries because it would trigger other people, which is wild because you already tried to show it. You literally pulled your sleeve up and exposed your own lie in front of thousands, and now you're pretending it was about protecting others? It's hard to describe how damaging this is. Like, yeah, it's infuriating and embarrassing to watch, but the real issue is deeper than just online drama. Faking disorders like autism and Tourette's is already bad enough, but when you start lying about things like and SA, you're crossing into dangerous territory. There are people, real people, struggling with these things every day. People who are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be accused of faking it. And when someone like Elphaba makes a public mockery of it, lying for views, attention, or pity, it makes it so much harder for real survivors to be taken seriously. But everything we've covered so far is honestly just scratching the surface. Believe it or not, Elphaba's controversies only spiral deeper and darker from here, with allegations piling up, one of the most serious being scamming. We've already seen how Elphaba turned begging on TikTok into practically her full-time job, milking sympathy and manipulating people on an almost daily basis. It's genuinely disturbing and baffling that despite being caught red-handed lying multiple times, plenty of people still send her thousands of dollars. But even that pales in comparison to her earlier scamming incidents from back in 2019. Aside from her obsession with Wicked, Elphaba used to have another big hobby, gaming, specifically Roblox. If you scroll back through her old Twitter from around 2019 to 2020, you'll find tons of tweets and retweets about Roblox and other gaming platforms. She was genuinely into it, posting links to her own Roblox videos, now deleted or hidden, and even promoting Roblox-themed merch to her secret subscribers. At first glance, nothing about this seems off or problematic. Just another passionate fan making some content around their interests, right? But unfortunately, things quickly took a dark turn. Around this time, multiple people in the Roblox community started coming forward, accusing Elphaba, then known by the username Orion Plays, of outright scamming them. One user shared this story. Fun fact, she was in the Ultra Hatching Legends server and scammed over $500,000 in value. Another person recounted an even more painful experience, saying, "Something happened like this to me. This girl said if I gave her my Kraken couplet, she'd use it for a YouTube showcase. But then she privately messaged me saying, 'Sí que LOL.' I was literally in tears and nearly quit Roblox altogether. Now I only trade with close friends, never strangers." It wasn't just these two. There were dozens of similar accusations against her, enough to land Elphaba's username firmly on several Roblox community spam lists. And these weren't just angry accusations or misunderstandings. People were seriously upset, with some even considering leaving the game entirely because of how badly she treated them. But here's the kicker. Elphaba herself actually admitted to scamming. When someone confronted her directly, she casually owned up to it, as if confessing somehow made her morally superior to other scammers who refused to admit their wrongdoing. Sure, honesty is good, but it doesn't magically erase the harm you've caused, something Elphaba has clearly struggled to understand to this day. Fast forward to September in 2023, Elphaba somehow managed to come up with yet another money-grabbing tactic, charging fans £5 just to take a selfie with her.
What I'll do is from now on, I'll hold out a card reader. That's what I'll be doing. And it'll be a £5 photo. I'll make a fortune, to be honest. It's a clever way of doing it. And if people can't afford that and they're just gonna, laugh, I'm like, bye, see you later.
Setting aside how cringe this idea is, The way she talked about people desperate for her attention was downright nasty. She acted like she was some kind of celebrity, graciously allowing people the privilege of paying her for a quick photo. Ridiculous doesn't even begin to cover it.
An influencer is a job. You decide 5 minutes to become an influencer, calm down. Okay, why don't you get 400,000 followers and 2,000 people on your live stream? We have to work. No, you don't. You actually don't have to work. You can get universal credit on benefits. That's how it works, my love. You don't have to work at all. I pay all the bills here. Put 30 quid on the electric, that's how I do it. You're obsessed. I live in your head rent-free.
But even worse was the method she planned to use. Elphaba announced she'd carry around a card reader to conveniently charge people on the spot. This immediately sparked suspicion. Could she even legally use such a device? People looked into it, and surprise, surprise! It was completely illegal. The companies providing these card readers clearly stated you couldn't get one without proper business registration, which Elphaba obviously didn't have. She literally planned to scam people face to face in broad daylight, which makes you question not just her morality, but also her basic common sense. What's even more alarming about this whole card reader setup is that Elphaba could technically charge fans whatever amount she wanted. Not just £5, but potentially hundreds. There'd be no easy way for someone to dispute it, especially if they trusted her blindly. She even got caught exchanging a photo of herself for a drink at a club, which is not just weird, but honestly pretty sketchy. And if all that wasn't chaotic enough, during one night out at the club, she dramatically announced that someone had stolen her Louis Vuitton bag. Cue Elphaba causing a huge scene, frantically running around and yelling at random strangers to give back her bag, only to eventually find it untouched right where she left it in her own booth. It was an embarrassing, unnecessary drama at its finest.
Where's the bag? I lost the bag. Where's the bag? Hello, darling. Where's the bag? I need my bag. Hello, darling. I lost my bag. Where's my Louis Vuitton bag? Where's my bag? What? Where's the bag?
One of her biggest scams of all time, though, revolves around her fundraising for gender transitioning. She repeatedly begged followers for donations, claiming she needed money for crucial medical treatments and essentials. But instead of using the money responsibly, she blew it on things like luxury bags. It's not that she can't buy nice things, but when you're begging your followers for money, specifically for something as serious and urgent as transitioning, spending it frivolously crosses a serious line. This all came to a head when one disabled woman tearfully revealed she'd sent Elphaba over £15,000, thinking it was genuinely going towards her transition. She explained how betrayed she felt after realizing her money was effectively wasted. Further proving this allegations, in one live stream where Elphaba was reading comments, she intentionally skipped the one that accuses of her this scam. While there's no absolute proof of this £15,000 claim, the very fact people even considered it believable says a lot about Elphaba's reputation. When confronted, Elphaba tried deflecting, claiming she actually had a sugar daddy who funded her lifestyle and showed questionable banking screenshots to prove it.
I have never in my entire life scammed 15 grand from a disabled person. I have shown you my receipts. I have shown you my TikTok gifting ranks that people have gifted me on. I have shown you everything I possibly can with not my details showing. Because if my details get shown, then of course my bank's going to be hacked. I'm not stupid, audience. I'm not stupid.
But viewers quickly pointed out that the holes in her story, it all seemed suspiciously fake. Another layer of manipulation meant to distract from the real issue. Elphaba taking advantage of vulnerable people for personal gain. The worst part? When another well-known transgender figure publicly called Elphaba out for grifting and damaging the community's image, Elphaba didn't even try to genuinely respond. Instead, she waited until the stream ended, then launched into her usual victim narrative, ranting about discrimination and unfair treatment.
I am not mocking anyone. I am who I am, thank you very much. Don't use TikTok on my own home, going on the street, facing the hate every single goddamn day in my entire life. Why do you think it's fair to say that? And why do you think you have a say in my own identity? I don't have a say in yours. This world is going to... People are judging each other.
It's exhausting, manipulative, and honestly dangerous, especially when considering the real harm this causes to the broader community and to genuine victims, who are often overlooked because of people like Elphaba. But back to the scamming allegations, because ironically there's still more. And at this point, it's not just outrageous, it's downright deranged. As if the literal thousands she gets from livestream gifts every week wasn't enough, Elphaba also has a monthly subscription service where people pay her £5 per month. In exchange, they get perks, like custom emojis, and other meaningless stuff that holds absolutely no real value. And to be fair, there's nothing inherently wrong with having a subscription like that. Tons of TikTokers do it. If people want to spend £5 to support their favorite creator, cool. But Elphaba? She wasn't satisfied with that. Out of nowhere, she pulled what might just be the grift of the year. One day, the subscription fee jumped from £5 to £50. No warning, no explanation, just a 10 times price hike overnight. And when people naturally are asked what was going on, Elphaba came up with the dumbest excuse imaginable. She claimed it wasn't her doing and that she had no control over the pricing.
All my subscribers, you don't need to subscribe to me next month. If you can't afford it, don't. It was an accident. I can't change it back either, so I'm gonna I'll probably message TikTok like on the support thing and ask if I can change it back.
Which, let's be clear, is a total lie. TikTok creators have complete control over their subscription prices. Not only could she set the price manually in the first place, she could have gone back and changed it at any time. This nothing I can do about it defense? Pure nonsense. She left it at £50 because she wanted to see if someone would be dumb enough to pay it. And sadly, some people did.
Someone just subscribed.
Even worse, instead of walking it back or apologizing, Elphaba doubled down. She started bargaining with her audience, saying that if they subscribed at the £50 tier, she'd give them her full attention, and even DM them personally, as if there's any value in having a private conversation with her in the first place. And beyond the money, a lot of Elphaba's chaos is clearly fueled by something else. Clout. Just like her other unhinged stunts, this too seems designed to stir controversy and keep people talking, which conveniently for her, also happens to drive up donations. It's all part of the same strategy. Stay relevant by any means necessary.
I'm gonna change that. I'm so sorry, because I'm trying to have tiers. So £50 one, it is literally like full attention of me. Like, you get me. Like, that's all you get. Like, that's all I can offer you is me.
Everything she says or does online feels like it's chasing virality, even if it means blatantly lying. And she's done that a lot. We're not talking 1 or 2 fibs. We're talking dozens, maybe even hundreds of made-up stories, just to stay in the spotlight. At one point, she claimed she was going to be a model and was working full-time to break into the industry. That never happened. She hasn't mentioned it ever since. Another time, she told her viewers a documentary about her life was being produced, and that the production company was already in talks with her. Shocker. That was also a lie. No such documentary exists, and no company ever confirmed anything.
Secondly, a documentary is coming out about me. It's not going to be like crazy, but there's an influencer that's messaged me.
And let's not even talk about her meltdowns, because she has hundreds of them, which obviously is not only fake, but also very cringe that you actually feel it in your body.
I'm glad it's TV for you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. As long as you're happy and you're smiling, and you're enjoying yourself.
As cringe as this is, it actually pales in comparison to what happened when Elphaba got rejected from attending the Wicked premiere in London around November 20 to 24. This particular event was a huge deal. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and other A-list celebrities were invited, and access was strictly invite-only. Elphaba didn't have one, but instead of accepting that, she went on an aggressive online campaign, milking her platforms for attention, hoping to pressure her way in. And weirdly, it got her noticed, just not how she expected. Universal Studios saw the noise and responded by removing her Defying Gravity cover from Spotify, which by the way sounds as cringe as her live streams, and even worse, her so-called singing exercises managed to go even more cringe. Still, she wasn't done hoping. One of her TikTok friends, Talia Dean, did have an invite and told Elphaba she'd bring her along as a +1. For a brief moment, Elphaba thought she was finally going.
I've actually got some news. No, it's good news. It's not like I just got a message. I can't say who from. I'm actually crying right now. I think I'm going to the Wicked.
But then came the final blow. Talia was informed she couldn't bring Elphaba, as the event organizers had directly rejected her, And to make it even worse, Universal Studios publicly confirmed their stance, responding to a fan inquiry with, "Thank you for your message regarding this content. Our fans and the community they create and foster are very important to us. Wicked Across the Globe has no affiliation with this fan, nor do we endorse any of their actions or statements." On the night of the premiere, people who were actually at the event began joining Elphaba's livestream, and she couldn't hide how devastated and jealous she was.
Everyone's asking why you're not here.
Yeah, we need you here.
At first, she tried to appear calm, but eventually she cracked, arguing with her own mother on stream, spiraling into a full meltdown that would snowball into peak-level TikTok drama.
Get off, Mum. I wish I was... You're not gonna shout at me, Mum.
Well then turn it off.
No, I'm not having it. Do not shout at me.
I want you to turn that off now.
No.
Get off the live 'cause you're
No.
crying.
No.
Turn it off.
No.
Turn it off.
No.
But Elphaba's cringe moments aren't just secondhand embarrassment. They're genuinely damaging to others too. There are plenty of examples, but one in particular has become iconic in Elphaba's entire lore. She was booked to perform at a trans-focused event in Brighton, and proudly announced it to her audience, which turned out to be a huge mistake. Trolls immediately contacted the event organizers and informed all the drama surrounding Elphaba, and the next day the event organizers announced Elphaba's cancellation from the event. Naturally, Elphaba didn't take it well. She went live in full meltdown mode, screaming, crying, raging, and while it was incredibly cringe, it was also undeniably hilarious.
So, that's prove it to me. I can't do anything anymore. I can't, unless the place is so strong with trolls. But I can't perform now, so you'll never see me perform in real life if people are going to do that. That's disgusting. To take that right away from me as well, to not... That's up. I'm fuming with that. I'm livid. That's disgusting. That's horrible.
But here's the kicker. This meltdown wasn't even happening at her house. She was staying at a hotel and started trashing the place, breaking stuff that didn't belong to her. And this wasn't her first time doing it either. Eventually, the hotel staff had enough and kicked her out. And then there was the time Elphaba got into it with her landlord. Now this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. Elphaba's proven over and over again that she can't coexist peacefully with anyone. Not her neighbors, not her mother, and definitely not the poor guy renting her a place to stay. Apparently her behavior was so disruptive and the damage to the property so bad, the landlord had no choice but to kick her out. But he didn't stop there. He slapped her with a $300 fine for property damage, which she eventually paid. End of story, right? Wrong. Because what Elphaba did next takes it from messy to downright revolting. Instead of clearing out her things like a normal person, she just left, abandoning all her junk behind. Clothes, sheets, even toys, just dumped and forgotten. And the landlord, clearly fed up, posted pictures online of the aftermath. And what did those pictures show? Stained bed sheets, pooped in pants, literal And the worst part? Elphaba admitted it was hers.
Skiddy boxes, yeah. I bet you can shut your pants one day. Make fun of my condition all you want, darling. Do you know what? I couldn't give a rat's ass if you've seen skiddy boxes from my landlord, because do you know what? That was an accident. And do you know what? I couldn't give a flying if you want to pick on me for my IBS, you can off your absolute because do you know what? You probably shat your boxes one day, or shat your nappy one day. Do you know what? Some people have medical condition, they can't keep it in, so do you know what? You can absolutely cough. If you don't like it, you shove it up your ass. Or out your ass, to be honest.
Now look, I'm not saying the landlord was justified in publicly posting those photos. That was undeniably foul. But the damage was done, and those images only confirmed a long-standing truth about Elphaba that's impossible to ignore. Her hygiene isn't just bad, it's catastrophically disgusting.
I think I've got piles. And do you know what? I'm actually really proud of that, because I feel like, do you know what? I've really made an effort today with my kids, and I'm proud of it.
It's so awful that she's openly admitted on live streams to not brushing her teeth for over 6 months. Nobody exposed her for this. She willingly confessed, and from that admission, it only spirals into some of the most bizarre, unhinged hygiene behaviors TikTok has ever witnessed. She's constantly gassy on stream, casually farting and burping as if hundreds of people aren't watching in real time. On one outdoor live stream, she abruptly burped mid-sentence so loudly and grotesquely that bystanders visibly recoiled in horror. Now, it was secondhand embarrassment captured live.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. This bright challenge. Pardon me.
Even her own mother has publicly called her out, on stream, for needing to shower and improve her hygiene. No adult should require that kind of reminder, let alone broadcast it to an audience. But it only gets worse. Her hair is perpetually greasy, and the dandruff situation impossible to ignore. Viewers once spotted a literal louse crawling through her hair, midstream, and instead of denying it, Elphaba shamefully acknowledged it right there in camera. That should have been the ultimate wake-up call, but clearly it wasn't. Then came the scabies.
I have scabies, which is microscopic bugs that burrow under your skin and just bite you. And they can be passed from fabric, like if you sit on a tube, right? They'll pass on to you.
Apparently going weeks without showering, never brushing her teeth, and wearing the same unwashed clothes for 19 consecutive days finally caught up with her. Once infected, you'd assume she'd quarantine or at least stop frequenting public spaces. Nope. Elphaba brazenly continued visiting shops, restaurants, and cafes, fully aware she was contagious. There's even disturbing footage of her casually trying on clothes at a store, knowing full well someone else would handle them immediately afterward. That's not just gross, it's dangerously irresponsible.
There she is, don't let her get away. Let's go me to him, let's make go. All the money wants is me, that's me. So when you try to me.
And just when you thought she'd reached rock bottom, there was the infamous restaurant livestream. Viewers alerted the staff that Elphaba had scabies, prompting a confrontation with management that escalated into exactly the type of petty drama she thrives on.
So I'm live right now, obviously, and I'm on TikTok, and I'm just vlogging, eating, and just chilling. So what's the problem with that?
Actually, someone live called us. They told us, you have scabies?
Scabies, yes, correct. And I've been told by the pharmacy. So I'm on day 6 of treatment, right? So I've got an antibacterial spray, right? Take that with me. And I've got hand sanitizer. I have been professionally told that I always won't have this, that I'm allowed out everywhere.
Her defense? Astonishingly, she argued it was fine because scabies isn't as dangerous as COVID. That was her logic. Not that it's still contagious, uncomfortable, or difficult to treat, but merely because it's not COVID.
It's not the virus. Scabies cannot you.
And if her hygiene wasn't already shocking enough, her excuses were somehow worse. She once claimed she couldn't shower because she was too busy taking care of Jack, feeding his cat and dog. As if tossing pets some food justifies living as if water were her mortal enemy. Elphaba's reckless disregard for cleanliness doesn't just affect her, it's dragged those around her into chaos too. Jay Templeman, a TikToker and one of her friends, experienced this firsthand when he made the mistake of letting her stay with him. But instead of changing her behavior for the sake of other people's sanity, she continued with her usual habits. She wore the same clothes day in and day out, which eventually led to her infesting the entire house with bed bugs. This forced Jay to start washing her clothes one by one. Unfortunately for Jay, Elphaba didn't even bother wearing the clean clothes. She just went right back to her disgusting routine.
She's been sleeping in it, and she's had it on for days. When have we had time to wash it?
Right, I haven't washed that one, but I've washed the clothes. The rest of them.
Like I said, she's had that on, 3, nearly 4 days now, whatever. Slept in it as well.
While Elphaba's hygiene is undeniably disgusting, that wasn't the only time she showed her nastiness while staying at Jay's place. One thing that keeps popping up with Elphaba is how jealous she gets when her friends receive more attention or praise than she does, and it was no different this time. Elphaba and Jay went live together, doing a collab stream where they sang and messed around for the viewers. But here's the thing. Jay was clearly the better singer, and you didn't even need to guess how Elphaba felt about it. The look on her face said everything. You could literally see the jealousy simmering. And instead of being supportive or even just letting Jay shine for a moment, Elphaba started talking non-stop, deliberately trying to distract viewers from hearing him sing. It came off bitter, petty, and made the whole vibe uncomfortable for everyone watching.
Elphaba can't be happy for Jay and keeps talking whilst he sings.
As the stream went on, viewers started gravitating toward Jay. He was cooler, more charismatic, and honestly just more likable. So naturally people began sending him more gifts. And instead of celebrating her friend's moment, Elphaba lost it. She actually told viewers that anyone gifting Jay should be gifting her instead, claiming they were originally her gifters and she's protective over them. Talk about greedy and jealous in the flesh.
I see you gifting. Thank you.
But give me a gift as well. I love you. Make sure you get me on there as well. Make it equal. So if you're on Jay's side, come over if you're a gifter as well. So I like people gifting me when they're my gifters, you know. I'm protective.
Then her phone died. So what did she do? She asked to moderate Jay's stream from his account. Sounds harmless, but let's be real. It was a setup. Elphaba was clearly bitter over how well Jay was doing, and once she had access to the mod tools, it got shady fast. She started blocking viewers, including high gifters, and even turned off the chat at one point, all because she couldn't handle someone else getting more attention than her. But back to all the hygiene lore, because somehow Elphaba keeps finding new ways to make it worse. She constantly shows up on live looking visibly greasy, hair matted, skin oily, just completely unbothered. And then there's the gas. She farts mid-stream like it's nothing, no reaction, no apology. It's become so normalized in her content that at this point people just brace for it. And sometimes it's so loud and so nasty sounding that viewers actually think she's shitting herself on camera. No exaggeration. The audio is that violent. And what makes it even more off-putting is how casually she reacts, if she reacts at all. She'll just continue scrolling or talking like she didn't just detonate a biological weapon in her room. Allegedly, this was even one of the reasons her own mother kicked her out of the house. Because imagine having guests over and hearing those sounds echo from another room while your daughter's live streaming to strangers on the internet. And if you think that's the lowest point, think again. She once literally held a piece of poop in her hand on a live stream. Not metaphorically, not edited. Full on poop. In her hand, on camera. And instead of freaking out, she just shrugged like it was whatever, tossed it aside, and continued the stream like nothing happened.
I just got overtook by a cat.
Josh.
Eight.
Yeah, we got back. Oh, Alpha, sweetheart. I just had to look at that, sweetheart. Oh, seeds. Put it in a carrier bag, sweetheart.
Oh, and let's not forget this one time where she found a spider on her hair while trying to brush her hair on live stream. And honestly, it just trips me how careless somebody can be, to the level where she doesn't wash or brush her hair for days, and then a spider end up having their webs on her hair. At this point, it's not just about being unclean, it's a performance of being as gross and shameless as possible. And whether she realizes it or not, she's made it a core part of her public identity. Not because people are bullying her, but because she keeps broadcasting it herself, loud and proud. And if her hygiene issues weren't already enough for people to deal with, her neighbors have now officially had it. Apparently they have been subjected to Elphaba singing Defying Gravity on loop, literally tens, maybe even hundreds of times a day. We're talking full-blown musical meltdowns through the walls at all hours. And look, everyone has their own little obsessions, sure, but when you're screeching the same Broadway song on full blast every single day, disturbing an entire building of people who just want peace, yeah, it's not quirky anymore, it's just annoying. I think this meme perfectly captures how the Elphaba's neighbors must be feeling. Funny, yeah, but also painfully accurate. Eventually they had enough and reported her to the police, which honestly makes sense. Anybody would lose it if they were being forced to listen to that much live Elphaba karaoke against their will. But Elphaba's response? Straight up delusional. Instead of reflecting for even a second or maybe turning the volume down, she hopped on live and said her neighbors were in the wrong, that they should keep their own issues to themselves and not report anything.
The council saying that, oh, Elphaba's live streaming. Well, yeah, I'm allowed to in my own home. Thank you very much. I'm allowed to sing in my own home. As are you. Anyone else is allowed to sing. If she wants to sing, she can sing. I'm not going to complain about it. Do you know what I mean? Music, I don't care. Put as loud as you want on. I don't care. I keep myself to myself with neighbours. I don't complain. I'm not a Karen. Do you know what I mean? How many of you are like that, guys? How many of you keep yourselves to yourselves? And that's how it should be. If you want to keep yourselves to yourself, keep yourselves to yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're a star, exactly.
That's not just entitled, it's unhinged. Imagine being so deep into your own ego that you think everyone else should just suffer silently while you blast wicked solos all day. Elphaba also loves to brag, a lot, about how many muscular, good-looking guys are hitting her up on Grindr and other dating apps. She talks about it like she's drowning in attention. But let's be real. That's nothing more than another one of her made-up fantasies. In reality, nobody's seriously trying to date Elphaba on those platforms. The only people messaging her are usually trolls, spam accounts, or guys baiting her into sending. which sadly she's known to do. Now, she's built a reputation for sending photos to pretty much anyone who asks, not as part of some private consensual exchange, but more like a desperate grab for validation from people who don't even respect her. There's even a bizarre voice note circulating on TikTok from one of the trolls who baited her.
To be fair, Nathan's probably big and fat. His is so plump, I would love to go inside it. Like, oh my lord! Smack it good and smack it good and... Nothing. If I changed my name to Elphaba, that would just look ridiculous.
And it's not just dating apps either. Elphaba has a habit of flirting with random men during TikTok lives, guys she clearly finds attractive, but every single time, it ends the same way. They don't flirt back. They're not interested. Not even a little bit.
So, for example, if I was luscious and gorgeous, would you date me? Hang out with me? Using those numbs things.
I don't.
What? So well, Daddy, I'm trying to ask you out. It's not working.
One of the most infamous moments where Elphaba was caught cringing over someone else was when she started going live with a TikToker named Speedoshi, known for going shirtless and flaunting his physique. As expected, Elphaba couldn't hold back and began shamelessly thirsting over him on live, making him visibly uncomfortable. It was yet another awkward, borderline creepy chapter in her ever-growing timeline of cringe.
What are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm just rolling the smoke.
Oh, okay.
What does it look like I'm doing?
It really looks wrong.
No, it's not that long. You don't come up to here. Come on!
Despite this being the clear, undeniable reality, Elphaba still feeds into her own delusion. She tells her followers that women are intimidated by her because their men are attracted to her.
They see me as competition. They might steal their man. It's okay, babe. I know. I have to try and make it a competition. Because I've already won. They're intimidated by my presence. Honestly. They're intimidated in some sort of way.
But beyond the endless delusions about her love life, there's a much darker and creepier issue. Elphaba's unhealthy obsession with West End actresses, specifically the ones playing Elphaba and Wicked. She's repeatedly tried to meet these actresses after their shows, hanging around stage doors and hoping for selfies and interactions. And to be fair, some actresses, like Laura Pick, have kindly posed with her several times. But things escalated from harmless fan moments to something genuinely disturbing. After one performance, Laura invited some audience members to join her at a nightclub, probably expecting a chill night out. Unfortunately for Laura, Elphaba saw this as her golden ticket to fame and, predictably, turned up at the club uninvited. Once there, she approached Laura and demanded that Laura join her TikTok livestream. Naturally, Laura declined, but Elphaba wasn't going to take no for an answer. She literally tried to grab the phone right out of Laura's hand while forcing herself in for a hug. At this point, another cast member immediately recognized Elphaba as the obsessive stalker she'd previously blocked on all social media platforms due to relentless creepy messaging. Security quickly stepped in and removed Elphaba from the club, and as you can imagine, Elphaba did not take this well at all. She went live and had a mental breakdown.
That's not why I just done. Why am I doing this? I love you, you're nice,
But this wasn't the only time Elphaba got caught stalking someone. In June 2024, a TikToker named Harley, who had about 5,000 followers at the time, came forward with serious allegations. He took to both Instagram and TikTok to accuse Elphaba of him after a Nicki Minaj concert in Manchester.
So Elphaba can play all the cards he wants, all the cards in the books. She can say that she never got the letters. The letter has gotten to Elphaba because something else has happened, which I can't comment on. So, the court date is the Thursday, the 21st of November, 2024, at 2:15 p.m.
According to Harley, he bumped into Elphaba after the show and asked for a quick photo. What started off casual would quickly spiral into something deeply disturbing. After taking the photo, the two waited outside hoping to catch another glimpse of Nikki. But over the next 4 hours, Harley says Elphaba's behavior crossed every line, and the details are hard to dismiss. He clearly states that Elphaba didn't just get handsy. She touched his private parts in public, unprovoked and without consent. And unfortunately, that was only the beginning. Harley tried to move on quietly, but Elphaba didn't. She allegedly began harassing him online, sending obsessive messages over the days that followed. Eventually, he'd had enough, and when he spoke out, he brought screenshots, receipts, and a timeline that matched everything. His story wasn't just believable, it was backed up with proof. One message showed Elphaba asking if he liked her or Nicki Minaj more. When Harley told her to leave him alone and warned that he'd go to the police, her response was chilling. She said she had lawyers, that she was famous, and wasn't worried about being accused of Eze. Then she kept going, offering to send and even threatening to show up at his house. Harley then posted the photo they took together that night, and honestly, everything he said lined up. Considering Elphaba's long track record of disturbing behavior, there's very little reason to doubt him. In fact, this might be one of the clearest and most credible accusations she's ever faced. Elphaba, of course, didn't stay silent. She tried to clear the air by posting videos addressing Harley's claims, but as usual, they did more harm than good. In this video, Elphaba argued that if something like that had really happened, security would have seen it and stepped in. But let's be real, that's a ridiculously weak excuse. We're talking about a packed concert with tens of thousands of people. Security isn't some omnipresent force that can catch every inappropriate act in real time, especially not in chaotic crowd settings.
Because, can I just ask you an honest question? And I generally want you to all kind of listen to this. If someone was generally essayed at that concert, there would be security looking, there would be people seeing, there would be some sort of action. If I was to do something like that, I probably would get in the by his boyfriend. I actually have witnesses who I was with the entire time who saw nothing. And while I'm tore up, security were everywhere. We're talking barriers on the exits to help people drive out.
She then added that her friends were there, and they would have seen it and stopped her. Again, another flimsy argument. Her friends are obviously in her corner, and let's be honest, if they're anything like her, they probably wouldn't recognize boundaries if they tripped over them. Being surrounded by people who enable your behavior doesn't exactly prove your innocence. Aside from all this creepy stuff, there was one rare moment where it looked like she might actually be in a somewhat normal situation. She had a boyfriend. Well, kinda. She had just met this guy named Wes Bradley, who was reportedly about a year older than her and apparently a university student. From what people could gather, Elphaba somehow linked up with Wes and his group of uni friends, probably thinking she landed something serious. But it didn't take long for things to start looking awkward. Instead of Wes spending time one-on-one with Elphaba, he was often vibing more with his own friends. It created this super uncomfortable vibe where Elphaba seemed more like a tag-along than an actual girlfriend. It was like she was trying to insert herself into the group dynamic, but no one really knew what to do with her. And then came the moment that made everything even weirder. During one of their live streams, Elphaba randomly started switching her voice mid-conversation, dropping into this bizarre, deep male voice that completely threw Wes off. You could actually see him getting uncomfortable, like he wasn't sure if it was a bit or something more serious. But despite all the awkwardness, Elphaba looked kind of content, probably because for once she wasn't alone. At the very least, she had someone to drink with and tag along to parties.
I'm like so emotional that he's chosen me, do you get me? I love people, I'm very grateful for a guy to choose me.
Unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, the whole thing didn't last more than a few days. Wes ended up backing out hard. He later admitted that the pressure of suddenly being in the public eye and all the chaos that came with it was way too much. It started affecting his personal life, so he nuked all his socials and basically disappeared.
Talk about a few things that's quite serious. I'm going to turn the comments off. We've unfortunately had to not carry on because we've made it public, right, that it's now affecting his personal life. We should have just kept it private. This is why I don't like relationships online.
Elphaba, on the other hand, didn't seem particularly heartbroken about it. No dramatic meltdown, no emotional collapse, just business as usual. Which honestly makes sense, considering they'd only hung out once or twice, and even then it was in a group setting. Still, she definitely played it up like it was something major while it lasted. Not long after, she was spotted out and about in Manchester, acting a little strange, as always, but this time she seemed to be hanging with a group of women. Maybe she met them at the club the night before. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, normal relationships just don't seem to stick around long in Elphaba's world. Besides all the things we've already gone through, each one more unhinged than the last, there's still one more serious allegation that needs to be addressed, and unfortunately, it's one of the most common patterns we see with internet lolcows like Elphaba: inappropriate interactions with minors. Elphaba runs a Discord server where she interacts with her so-called fans, though let's be honest, the trolls probably outnumber the genuine supporters at this point, and the source of this story is pretty unique. On November 15th, 2023, a YouTuber named Jake Baz infiltrated Elphaba's server by joining under a fake name. And not just any fake name. He disguised himself as Glinda, the good witch character from Wicked, which is honestly a clever move given how obsessed Elphaba is with that musical. Now, this Discord server claims to have an age verification rule. You're supposed to be 18 plus to join. But the verification process is basically just asking the user to like a post that says 18 plus, and hoping they tell the truth. No ID checks, no vetting, no actual way to confirm anything. And considering how many of Elphaba's followers are clearly underage, whether it's kids trolling her or just young people watching the mess unfold, you'd think she'd be a little more cautious about how she acts in there. But nope, same old Elphaba. Inside the server, she wasn't just being weird, she was oversharing, talking about her dating life, her experiences on Tinder and Grindr, how many people are supposedly hitting her up, and how good she thinks she looks. Totally normal things to say if you're in a private adult space. But this was in a public Discord that likely had minors in it. And then came this gem. She actually wrote, "I always wanted to experience a breast clap." Yes, that was posted in a server where minors could easily be reading, and in some cases actively talking to her. What makes this even more baffling is that Elphaba herself set the rules for this server. There's literally a written rule that says, "I want to say this is a safe place. Flirting is okay, but please no thing or inappropriate remarks in any of the channels." So not only is she being inappropriate, she's violating her own rules in the process. But all of that honestly pales in comparison to what came next. Let's rewind about 3 years. This was when a serious accusation started making rounds. Elphaba allegedly sent her to a literal kid. At first glance, you might think it's just another random internet rumor, but it wasn't. Multiple people came forward calling her out, and the story started picking up traction. And what really locked it in? Elphaba herself admitted to it. She straight up responded to someone on Instagram who confronted her, and instead of denying it, she confirmed the whole thing. Even though there's already some evidence that could raise suspicions about Elphaba, it's still not fair, or responsible, to throw around a word as serious and damaging as the P word without solid, undeniable proof. But here's the thing, this whole situation wouldn't have blown up the way it did if Elphaba had just handled it properly, or even just stayed quiet, which of course she didn't. Instead, Elphaba jumped on a live stream in a typical Elphaba fashion, called the Police on Stream, claiming that the people accusing her were faking evidence using AI and trying to ruin her reputation.
It's a really scary, yeah. I'm a target, so people are going to easily use me for that. There's someone called Mama Kaz who has been talking about me online as well. On top of that, someone called Jordan is accusing me of going into a group chat, talking to my stuff like that, so I just want to report this. It's on TikTok mainly, so unfortunately I get quite a lot of hate online.
It got even worse. While on the phone with the cops, she started ranting about her personal drama, giving a full-on recap of her internet beefs, trolls, and all kinds of irrelevant nonsense, as if the police had nothing better to do than sit through a one-woman drama dump from TikTok. Elphaba would eventually be questioned about the disturbing interactions with the minor, and her response didn't just fail to clear things up, it made everything 10 times worse. Her defense was so bad it practically confirmed the allegations. First, she claimed the DMS could have been generated by AI.
So I want to play this audio clip for you, and I want to ask you if it's you.
Yeah, good. Now I'm down to face it. Let's face this.
Just stay on it. Let's get into what really needs to be talked about.
I saw other people doing it, and I was like, they went banned for it, so I was like, why not try it?
Okay, yeah.
I got banned for touch. Okay, that's wrong.
Okay.
That's not AI, my love. That's not AI.
I don't know if it's AI or not. That's the thing. I think it could be.
Which is insane because the messages in question are deeply disturbing. And if they're not AI generated, then that means Elphaba herself sent them. And if that's true, we're not just talking about online drama anymore. We're talking potential felonies, serious life-ruining charges that could easily land someone in prison for decades. But she didn't stop there. Elphaba then said the voice messages might have been taken out of context, as if there's any context that makes inappropriate voice notes to a minor.
I would say it could either be taken out of context or something, or it could be either, twisted into things.
This isn't a case of miscommunication. This is either a full-blown crime or the worst attempt at damage control in TikTok history. But all of this chaos surrounding Elphaba doesn't just begin and end with her. A huge part of the mess stems from her obsession with TikTok's UK-based weekly leaderboard, a ranking system that tracks how many virtual gifts creators receive during live streams. The higher you rank, the more visibility and bragging rights you get, which turns it into a non-stop competition among UK-based TikTokers. For Elphaba, that leaderboard became everything. She wasn't just going live for content. She was battling to climb the ranks, no matter what it took. And part of the reason she's done so many of the unhinged, attention-grabbing things we've discussed so far is because she believed it would push her higher on that list. She's surrounded by a whole cast of degenerates, many of whom deserve their own expose just to scratch the surface of their mess, starting with none other than Chelsea Leart, also known as CLA. CLA, real name Leanne Feely, is a 42-year-old mother of two who straight up abandoned her kids to chase TikTok clout and money. There's a rumor floating around that she's secretly wealthy, but to be honest, absolutely nothing about how she lives backs that up. Now, Chelsea is notorious for her streams inside restaurants where she causes chaos like it's part of the menu. She'll order massive meals, finish every last bite, and then claim something's wrong with the food just so she can demand a refund. It's not just shameless, it's straight up embarrassing. She's damaging local businesses just to farm views and stir drama.
All we've done is be nice to you. And we gave
Your
you
food's terrible.
I'm not going to lie, I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
Food's
Cheating
shit.
you when I've heard everything about you.
Good, you don't know nothing about me.
Roots,
And
what
I
can you
just want
do to get out now, please?
We'll
Thank
never
you very
come
much.
back, the food's terrible.
Please don't. Bye now.
But here's where things get messy. In a bizarre twist, Elphaba actually called Chelsea out in live one day, pointing fingers at all the nonsense CLA is known for. And because they both operate in the same UK TikTok circles, they obviously share a good chunk of the same audience.
She's a nobody, absolute nobody.
You're the one that gets kicked out of every single goddamn restaurant when you film. You get drunk out your face and you shout roots in people's faces for entertainment on the live stream, and then you embarrass yourself to goddamn death. You shove a hairbrush up your ass in front of you judge people for the way they look. You also are racist towards people. And you are also really horrible towards people in real life.
During that same stream, Elphaba also tried to deflect her own clout-chasing accusations by saying, well, I have more followers than Chelsea, as if follower count somehow cancels out your behavior. Genuinely one of the most unserious arguments ever.
Chelsea, thank you, darling.
Listen to this.
Chelsea Leon, she's just a clout chaser.
Clout chaser? No, honey, I get more views than you, I've got more followers than you.
That's exactly what she is, darling.
But in true TikTok fashion, that call-out didn't last long. Not even a full cycle of a manufactured outrage later, Elphaba and CLA were suddenly doing collab streams together. And it was obvious. They weren't teaming up out of friendship, it was about clout.
To speak to you eventually.
It's lovely to meet you too.
Yes, Alpha. You've sent me gifts as well, haven't you, Alpha?
Eventually, the two became so close to the point where they started filming real-life content together. CLA claimed she was helping Elphaba cope with the hate and harassment she gets online, claiming she is wiser and a more experienced TikToker. Whether any of that is true is questionable, but what is clear is that Chelsea seemed to be mentoring Elphaba on how to grift harder, not just on TikTok, but in real life too, using sugars and whatever other shady tactics she's notorious for.
Hi guys, we are doing the ranks at 12. Yes, the CLA Roots Army and Elphie Army are coming for number 1.
Their bond got weirdly close, weirdly fast, so much so that Elphaba ended up moving into CLA's apartment, and the two began wandering the streets together, acting even more unhinged than usual. People started to describe their behavior like two mentally unstable influencers loose in public with zero filter or self-awareness.
Booyaka in the place, I'm with Alpha. Oh, darling. Look at the coat. She's absolutely gorgeous. And just to let you know, she doesn't smell. Gorgeous. Oh, Roots. Booyaka in the kitchen. darling, we've just had a fabulous day out today. Oh.
And naturally, the internet wasn't having it. After Elphaba moved in, the chaos reached such a level that people began calling the police for welfare checks.
Oh, you've got no right. I've done nothing wrong. I'm in the comfort of my own home. I've done nothing wrong, and the police have got no right to do this to me. Alpha is having a on the toilet.
Who, sorry?
Alpha, I've got her mum on the live. Look, we're TikTok famous. We're both famous. I'm not having this. I'm putting. It's her mum, Alpha's mum. Alpha's from Devon. She's TikTok famous. She's with me.
What made the whole thing even more bizarre is that during some of these streams, Elphaba's own mother was right there, watching it all unfold and collecting TikTok money alongside her. And this wasn't some one-time moment either. Elphaba's mom has shown time and time again that she's just as unhinged and internet-obsessed as her daughter. Yeah, back to the topic. Just like most of Elphaba's relationships, this little alliance didn't even last a full month. The so-called friendship fell apart fast. And once again, Elphaba's Hygiene was at the center of it. CLA caught head lice from letting Elphaba live in her flat, and from there, everything started spiraling. But even with all the chaos and Elphaba's absolutely nightmarish hygiene, CLA still wanted her to stick around a bit longer. Why? Simple. She was obsessed with climbing the UK-based leaderboard, and having Elphaba around that meant more clout, more views, and a better ranking. And this isn't some wild theory. We're not reading between the lines here. CLA herself admitted it on livestream, straight up saying she only kept Elphaba around for clout.
I mean, I'd be stupid to let her go, sweetheart. I'm going to get way more clout if I stay in here, darling. So I'm a clout chaser. We'll have all the clout chasing off Elfie. Absolutely. True caper, darling. Because I was just thinking, if I let her go, because that's what I was thinking, come back. Affected. Well, I can't let her go until the leaderboard's finished, so she's going to have to stay till Sunday. She's going to have to stay till Sunday. She's got no choice.
But even CLA's undying love for internet fame couldn't keep her patience alive. Eventually, she hit her breaking point. She wanted Elphaba out, badly, and from there, her attitude flipped. CLA started getting snappy, visibly irritated, making it clear she'd had enough. But Elphaba completely missed the memo. She lingered, overstayed, and the tension kept building. In one now infamous livestream, the two were riding in a taxi, and out of nowhere, CLA snapped. She started throwing a tantrum, acting like a child, getting mad over nothing, and just completely losing her cool for no clear reason. Instead of owning her behavior, she brushed it all off by saying, "It's because I have bipolar." Which, okay, having bipolar is valid, but using it as an excuse to treat people like garbage mid-meltdown is something else entirely.
Thank you. Sorry about the shouting, sweetheart. Yeah, I'm TikTok famous. #1 in the UK at the minute. So the stupid puts their rankings back on. No one cares about the targets. I need to pay.
I'm gonna put your green screen on.
Alpha, please.
Okay.
Now you know what it's like to be with someone bipolar.
Oh, absolutely.
No one's giving you a tip. I've spent enough money in London. Can you do it? Because I'm getting out.
But let's not pretend Elphaba was being some innocent house guest either. She was pushing boundaries left and right. At one point, she stole a phone charger from CLA. Yes, a literal charger. CLA confronted her on livestream, and the whole thing turned into another embarrassing, unnecessary scene that played out in front of hundreds of viewers. Meanwhile, in the background of all this chaos, Evil Queen Chelsea, EQ, was watching closely and saw her moment to pounce. EQ, who is easily just as unhinged as Elphaba and CLA, if not worse, is chronically lidive, constantly begging for money and always inserting herself into TikTok drama. One time, someone in her chat said they were going to donate to charity, and EQ literally told them to donate to her instead. But EQ's obsession with TikTok fame isn't just about attention, it's about dominating the BritTalk live battles, a leaderboard-style clout war involving all these people. So when the CLA and Elphaba friendship started breaking down, EQ took full advantage. She used the drama to wedge herself in, fueling the fallout and pushing the two further apart. This led to a series of lives where CLA and EQ teamed up to roast Elphaba, throwing shade, making jokes, and creating this super uncomfortable cringe dynamic where no one really looked good, but Elphaba looked especially bad. But EQ's not just a loudmouth, she's manipulative as hell. She acts like a friend when it's convenient, and the second someone turns their back, she's on live talking trash. When she goes live with Elphaba, she pretends CLA is the problem, whispers in her ear, plays the victim, makes it seem like she's the only one being real. It's honestly sociopathic the way EQ bounces between people, planting seeds and letting the drama grow, just so she can sit back and benefit from the fallout.
Yeah, so you started coughing, so Chelsea makes you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous. Shouting makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you, sensory overload happened to me. And I'm not gonna lie to you on that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say how it is. It did make me nervous, of course it did.
But that means you feel in danger from Chelsea. What would she do to you? So you think she's aggressive and violent?
No, I just think she shouts. And I thought I don't know, I heard something and I was like, I just like, you know.
And eventually, EQ got what she wanted. She successfully pushed CLA to kick Elphaba out, which didn't even take much convincing at that point. CLA finally told her to pack her stuff and leave, but a few months later, because apparently no one learned anything, Elphaba and her mother Maria were kicked out of their own place. Most likely for the same reasons as always: chaos, noise, and zero self-awareness. And in a move no one saw coming, they both ended up back at CLA's house. Yes, both of them. To be fair, it was CLA herself who invited them back in, so she kind of brought this disaster on herself. But that didn't stop round 2 from being even messier than the first. If anything, it exploded faster. CLA was just as unstable as ever, constantly angry, unpredictable, and ready to pop off at any moment. She'd go live and start insulting Elphaba left and right, dragging her through the mud in front of hundreds of viewers. At one point, she even straight up called her a man midstream, not for any reason other than to be cruel and stir drama.
You can go back to
You're making more noise than me.
I'm not having you here thinking you're this and that, taking the piss, man. I'm not, man. I want my own space, man. You don't think you can put your...
And to be honest, during some of these streams, Elphaba actually looked like the calmer one, which says a lot. Because next to CLA, who's notorious for yelling, snapping, and losing her mind over every minor thing, Elphaba came off as weirdly collected. But the worst part of it all? Elphaba's mom, Maria, was right there through all of it, just quietly sitting in the background like this was normal. CLA would literally go live talking about how she was going to kick both of them out, and Maria would just be there, saying nothing.
Yeah, well, you didn't offer to get your mum food when she was saying she was starving. She was asking me. Well, she was hinting to me, darling. That's why I've hinted to you, darling.
Don't talk about my mum now.
You was hungry, Maria. I said I was hungry as well. I trained you.
That's not true.
I was one of your top gifters. Stop running your gums and get the out my house, darling. Don't think you're bad, because you're not. Get out.
Eventually, Elphaba and her mother Maria packed up and left CLA's place, bringing their chaotic cohabitation to an end. That was supposed to be the final chapter. No more shared streams, no more public breakdowns, no more lice-related fallouts. But even with Elphaba gone, the mess didn't stop. Thanks to TikTok's live leaderboard, the two were still orbiting each other online, competing for views, attention, and digital handouts. But what really stirred the pot was what Elphaba left behind. After they moved out, CLA went into full damage control, fumigating the apartment, disinfecting every room, trying to undo whatever biological nightmare had settled in. But it didn't work. Because at that time, Elphaba had scabies, and according to CLA, it had already spread through the entire house. And while CLA was definitely pissed, it was hard to ignore the irony. She brought Elphaba in, twice, and now she was left with the aftermath, literally itching because of it. Next up in Elphaba's long list of TikTok train wrecks is another familiar face, Mama Kaz, who, to be honest, is no different from Elphaba or CLA when it comes to chaos and grifting. Mama Kaz was actually one of Elphaba's earliest supporters, even before CLA entered the picture. At the start of 2023, Elphaba moved into Mama Kaz's house entirely. Whether Kaz took her in out of genuine sympathy or just saw an opportunity to farm Clout is still unclear, but whatever the intention, the whole thing crashed fast. What started off as some sort of awkward internet mother-daughter dynamic turned into a full-blown hate fest quicker than anyone expected. Elphaba, as usual, was waging biological warfare in someone else's home, refusing to shower, change clothes, or clean up after herself. At one point, Mama Kaz even offered her a clean outfit and access to a proper shower, and Elphaba still refused. That's when things really began to sour. But what actually lit the match was Elphaba's refusal to duet with Mama Kaz on TikTok. For just 2 days, that absence led to a dip in TikTok gifts, and Kaz snapped. She went live blasting Elphaba, spilling everything, especially the hygiene stuff. It wasn't just petty, it was personal. Elphaba, in damage control mode, begged Kaz not to go public. She DM'd her on Instagram, writing, "Please don't bring personal information onto a live stream if it's against me, and sorting situations out privately is better. I did nothing but be kind to you. I didn't duel you for 2 days, and you treat me like utter going live trying to create drama against my name. That is not okay and you know it. Even when you are creating drama, I have told my end to send you love. Honestly? Wise words, if only she meant them. Because just days later, both of them were all back on TikTok, screaming at each other like lunatics. One stream even had Elphaba literally bang like a sheep mid-rant. It was funny, yes, but also absolutely unhinged.
You don't deserve to talk. You don't deserve to talk. You don't deserve to talk. You're a narcissist and you don't deserve to talk. You don't deserve to talk. You've shown your true colours.
But things took an even darker turn. Mama Kaz was actually the first person to publicly call Elphaba out for faking autism and Tourette's. She contacted Maria directly, got the real story, and aired it out live. Elphaba did not take that well. Instead of addressing the accusations, Elphaba went full menace mode. Her response? She threatened to Mama Kaz using a deep-faked audio clip of her allegedly saying the N-word, claiming she could make people believe it was real. And on top of that, she accused Mama Kaz of misgendering her, while also telling her she needed to start carrying a alarm.
Guys, do you want to see videos of her saying the N-word?
But that's fake racial messages and that's okay.
Do you want to see a video of her saying the N-word?
That's fake racial
I got a video of
messages.
it.
What makes it even more hypocritical is that while Elphaba was busy ranting about AI-generated audio, she herself has publicly said the N-word on a live stream. On record, no deepfake needed. So for her to suddenly act like she cares about fake racism, allegations is just the height of double standards.
You know, you get a vote for that money. Money.
But Elphaba's chaotic internet journey didn't stop with just the bottom-tier TikTok grifters. Even bigger names got dragged into the mess, including none other than Jeffree Star. Now to be clear, Jeffree is not in the same category as Elphaba. He's built a massive brand, has mainstream fame, and doesn't need TikTok clout battles to stay relevant. But that didn't stop Elphaba from trying to get in his orbit. In fact, she was openly a huge fan of Jeffree, until everything went sideways. The two ended up doing a dual livestream together, which should have been a big moment for Elphaba. But as expected, it went completely off the rails. See, Jeffree has made it pretty clear over the years that he doesn't agree with the whole they-them non-binary pronoun movement, which Elphaba strongly identifies with. Before the stream, she had already posted videos saying she didn't agree with his views, but still joined the stream anyway, probably hoping for exposure. The problem? Jeffree's chat was spamming nonstop, telling him Elphaba hates you, dragging up clips, and basically feeding him everything secondhand. And since Jeffree had no idea who Elphaba even was, he just rolled with whatever his audience told him. And then, right there on stream, Jeffree mocked Elphaba, throwing shade by mentioning the slime thing, clearly referencing her bizarre online reputation without saying it outright. And just like that, the stream was over.
The non-binary stuff.
Everyone has said something that I don't agree with. That's totally normal.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I gotta say on that one. Be honest, I'll say how it is, you know.
Love the UK. I sleep with a few soccer players out in Manchester.
Oh, I love that.
After this, I might need some slime, baby. Yeah. I think I'm gonna need some slime. Oh my goodness!
Elphaba didn't take it well. After the stream, she spiraled, visibly distressed, clearly shaken, and convinced Jeffree now hated her. In a desperate move, she sent 400 pounds worth of TikTok gifts to him, hoping to win him back or fix whatever tension she thought existed. It didn't work.
So I sent £400 to Jeffree. And I didn't even, yeah, just a lot of money.
And Elphaba? She broke down crying on Live, a full-on meltdown. She couldn't believe Jeffree might hate her, which, considering the fact that he barely knew who she was, made the whole thing even more absurd.
Pitch out there. Come over here.
Can I have a hug?
Come here. Get off the live now.
In the chaotic realm of internet notoriety, Elphaba Orion Doherty isn't just another cautionary tale. She's the disturbing embodiment of what happens when delusion, neglect, and a desperate need for validation collide. From faking disorders for clout, engaging in reckless hygiene practices, to crossing ethical lines with minors, she's become an unsettling figure impossible to ignore. Yet beneath the endless scandals, drama, and bizarre obsessions lies a genuinely tragic story of someone who craved attention and money so badly that she destroyed any chance at dignity.